I want to make sure we cover shipping too. And so, Rookie, while I have you, we've talked a little bit about it to date or throughout the call so far, but tracking shipment location and temperature, obviously the critical parameters and part of the value stream here of cell therapy. And so, my one of my first questions for you, and I'd like to hear from Ryan too on this. But Rookie, we'll have you go first. Are temperature monitoring devices really truly necessary when using a shipper that has been tested and validated to hold a specific temperature range for, a specified period of time?
Such a great question. In my opinion, there's regulatory agencies require either you control the situation or you validate it, not both. But that's an argument you'll frequently get into with your own internal regulatory teams. I do all the time. If we're going to spend years of validating a shipping system and proving that it holds temperature, why then do we continue to put a temp monitoring device in it? We've already shown it'll do what it does through vast amounts of testing. So in my opinion, I think you do one or the other. You either control it by having a temperature monitoring device, GPS trackers, et cetera, on every box, or you do the validation work up front. You prove that it can hold temperature, that it does it consistently all the time, and you live with that. And but most regulatory groups don't like that. They want both. And so when you do both, it's very expensive. It often can lead to deviation work and those sorts of things. Again, that back to my original point of building the widest possible temperature range, hold time range is only going to help you because nothing is perfect. But if you validate a system and it works, that should be how you can file it. That's my own personal opinion. And that's the way I understand, like the FDA, they want one or the other, not both.
Yeah, sure. Ryan, I want to be able to give you the opportunity to weigh in here as well. Are you in agreement? Are they truly necessary when the shipper has been tested and validated to hold specific temperature
Yeah,
range?
I think from a commercial perspective, I agree with Rookie. You by the time you're commercial, you've got the data to validate the shipping. I think for early clinical trials, I actually like the idea of having the temperature monitoring devices. Number one is it allows you to actually increase your data. Why not go get that data while you're doing your studies? A lot of conversations around when there is a deviation away from the known range that you have for shipping, you can look at that deviation. You can have conversations with the FDA. You can ultimately, potentially end up dosing the patient after you have those conversations and look at the data. Now all of a sudden you've got a new data point that says, okay, our range, we had a deviation. We should go study that range. Now it appears that it was safe and we saw efficacy in the clinical trial. And so it can help drive some of the data package. And ultimately, in those early clinical trials, patients are waiting. And so, if you do have a deviation, you don't necessarily want to have to just throw it out and go start over. That takes a long time. And so this idea of being able to actually have the data, reference the data to your internal development packages to be able to treat those patients in those early studies. But after you've treated hundreds of patients in your clinical trials and you're commercial and you've got that big data package, hopefully a big range, I don't see the need to have to keep doing it. It's just an added cost that's unnecessary.
Sure. Okay. Rookie, back to you. The question I have for you is, has anyone been able to remove the quote unquote do not X-ray requirement for their cell and gene therapy shipments? And if they have, how is it accomplished?
I do not know of any company that's successfully been able to eliminate that. But I would love for that to happen at BMS. One of the challenges again is that there are white papers out there so there's more radiation up in the sky in the belly of an airplane than the radiation that's going to be experienced going through an X-ray machine. So we already know that. There's tons of studies out there. The trick is that you've got to get your own teams to test that out we so concerned about impact of X-ray on cells? Does it change the nature of the cells? Does it do something to the drug product that you have? That it would take a lot of work to kind of to prove that out. And again, by the time somebody wants to prove that out, you're already near commercial or phase 3, and it's really expensive to try to go, prove that after the fact. But I think there's enough data out there, just with the studies showing radiation, the amount of time that an airplane is in the air with all that radiation, just generally speaking, kind of common sense tells you that, it's experiencing a lot more radiation than just going through that X-ray machine. And the wins of allowing it to be X-rayed are huge. It just speeds up that process of getting it handed off to an airline and getting it through some of the